Are you ready for 5 MLB picks for today, Friday, May 23rd? I'm Professor MJ from Quebec City in Canada. I was a university statistics teacher for 15 years before retiring at age 43 after earning more than $1 million with my sports bets. I now devote my full time to sports betting. It is truly a passion to me. So let's start, as usual, by recapping recent picks before moving on to today's 5 MLB predictions. So I took a day off yesterday from making a YouTube video, and on Wednesday I shared a few picks with you, and they did a very good job. So we picked up 4 wins, 1 loss, and 1 game that was postponed. So the only loss was Dustin May under 4.5 strikeouts, whereas we won the first 4 picks, including a couple of underdogs at positive odds. So the Pirates upset the Reds, and we also had Bobby Witt scoring at least a run in San Francisco against Logan Webb, whose best odds were plus 130. And we also got the victory with the Cubs and the Mariners at minus 140 odds. So in total, a person risking $100 per bet earned a profit of $282. And remember that the day before, we also racked up great profit. If I remember correctly, we won around $350. So we're talking about 3.5 units. Now, unfortunately, I'm sad to report that after winning 11 straight Lobster bets, we have now lost the past 2. So for those of you who have not watched recent videos, the Lobster bet is what I believe the best wager across all sports. Yesterday, I took Jaden McDaniels from the Timberwolves to record at least 6 rebounds. I think he finished with just 2, so that was ugly. And the day before, we took under 4.5 runs in the first 5 innings of the Houston-Tampa Bay game, and that also lost. So overall, since I started this concept on April 23rd, we have accumulated 23 wins versus 7 losses. So we are destroying the bookies. As you can see on the last row, the return on investment so far has been 40.5%. Now, unfortunately, it's too late now to sign up for the Lobster bets in the month of May. I gave you many days to register. So we will offer a package for the month of June in about a week from now. So I hope we're going to bounce back. I've already submitted today's Lobster bet. I will tell you more about it on Monday. Now let's get started with today's free MLB picks. The first one concerned the early game featuring the Orioles in Boston. So I'm talking about game 1 of their doubleheader. In that game, I'm taking the road underdog, the Orioles, at plus 110 odds, and this pick is rated 4 stars out of 5, so it is viewed as being a great pick. It is not good enough to be viewed as a premium pick, where, as most of you know, I share my premium picks at mjpicks.com. So Baltimore will travel to Boston after finally getting a win on the board following 8 consecutive losses. So that was a bad losing skid. Now, the Orioles fit under a betting strategy that produces an average of around just 10 bets per season. It's called the snapped losing streak number 1. And it is rated 5 stars out of 5. So it is one of my best performing MLB betting systems out of the 19 that I have developed. In fact, since 2019, it has produced a ROI of plus 15.4%. So when we have the opportunity to bet according to this system, I take it. Let me review its rules with you. So it recommends betting any team that meets the following 3 criteria. Number 1, they won their last game after losing at least 6 in a row. So the Orioles, they won their last game after losing 8 consecutive games. They must be facing a different opponent compared to their previous game. That's the case again. And their money line today must be smaller than plus 175. So for example, it could be plus 160, plus 135, or they could be favorites. So in this case, Baltimore's money line is plus 110, which is much smaller than plus 175. The reason why we have this third criterion is because this betting angle has proven not to work so well on huge underdogs, so we are excluding them. All right, so basically the reasoning behind this system is that a team goes through a bad losing skid, and once they finally pick up the W, that lifts their spirit and they tend to win a second consecutive game. Well, that's what history says. Now, based on ERA, we have an unfavorable pitching duel in this case because Cade Povich ERA is 5.23 versus 4.02 for Brayan Bello. However, the whip statistic that I value a lot tells another story. So Povich whip stat is 1.45, which is not very good, but Bello's whip stat is even uglier at 1.69. He has issued 12 walks across his past 3 outings, so Bello has had a lot of command issues lately. So I think we have some value on Baltimore to get the W in Boston this afternoon. So again, I'm talking about game number 1 of the doubleheader. Up next, I have a pick on the Cubs-Reds game, and in that match, I'm taking another slight underdog. I'm betting the Cincinnati Reds to win at home against the Cubs. As you can see on your screen, typical odds are minus 105, which is the same as 1.95 in decimal, and this play gets rated 3 stars out of 5. Now we have a great pitching duel between Matthew Boyd and Hunter Greene. Both present an ERA which is below 3, which is great. But based on the whip statistic, Greene has been much more dominant. He owns a tiny 0.81 whip stat. When your whip stat is below 1, that's viewed as being great. Now he's not even close to 1, it's 0.81 versus an ordinary 1.23 whip stat for Boyd. Remember that the league average is 1.30, so according to this stat, he's just slightly better than average. Now, one source of concern is the fact that Hunter Greene is returning from a 16-day absence following a groin injury. So that's why this play gets rated 3 stars instead of being 4 or 5 stars. Now, Matthew Boyd does not seem to enjoy facing the Reds because in 4 career starts, he owns a 1-3 record along with a poor 6.00 ERA. And things have been even worse when you focus on his starts at Cincinnati, because in those games, he has presented a 9.69 ERA in his career. Ouch! I also feel like the Reds are due for an offensive outburst, so I like them. And also, they qualify under a betting system that I like called the Stingy Pitchers, whose rules are as follows. By the way, later on, we have another pick following this system, so it is worth reviewing its rules. It basically recommends betting against the road team if they won their past 2 games by allowing 0 or 1 run in each of those victories, and if their money line is smaller than plus 150. Now, in the current case, the Cubs won their past 2 games by the following scores: 2-1, 14-1. So in both cases, they gave up exactly 1 run. Their money line today is much smaller than plus 150, so we need to fade them, and that explains the Cincinnati pick. All right, up next, I'd like to discuss San Francisco, Washington. In that game, I am backing the San Francisco Giants as small underdogs. Typical odds right now are hovering around plus 100, which is the same as 2.0 in decimal. Among the 5 plays that I'm going to share with you today, this is the one where I have the least confidence. It is rated 2 stars out of 5, which means it is viewed as being a, what's the name I gave? Decent pick. Remember that if I tell you about a one-star pick, it doesn't mean it's a crappy one. Okay, so I'm only talking about bets that I feel are worth betting, and then I am grading them among all of those. All right, so why do I like San Francisco in this match? Well, the Nationals continue to showcase that they're rebuilding a solid unit. They have showed great improvement and they have surprised many people. Their 23-27 record is exceeding preseason expectations by far. Now the Giants, they also play consistent baseball, and they are right now only 2 games behind the strong LA Dodgers. Now Washington is riding a 5-game winning streak, and if you focus on the last 4 matches, they have scored 8, 5, 10, and 10 runs. But you know what? I feel like their offense will cool off significantly today against Landon Roop, who's showing marked improvement in recent times. If you focus on his last 3 outings, he has given up a total of 4 earned runs in 16 innings of work. Now, if you do the math, it equates to an ERA of 2.25, which is great. And also in those 3 games, he struck out 12 batters versus just 2 walks. Now for Washington, Mackenzie Gore gets the nod. He can be good at times, but he has been inconsistent lately. Now he keeps racking up the punch-outs at a high rate, but he's also issuing many walks, which has been a problem for him. And now in 4 career starts against the Giants, he has presented a 6.05 ERA, which is not so good, of course. So I feel like the Giants are going to get the W in this game, and that's my third pick for today. Now up next, I would like to pick the Detroit Tigers, which is a 4-star pick. I was close to making it a premium pick and grading it 5 stars, but ultimately I've decided to go with 4 stars. And by the way, just like the Reds, the Tigers also qualify under the stingy pitchers system. So if you focus on the road team, Cleveland, they have they shut out the Tigers yesterday 7-0. And prior to that game, they played the Twins in Minnesota, and they won to the tune of 5-1. So as you can see, we have Cleveland being the road team. They won their past 2 games by giving up either 0 or 1 run, and their money line is smaller than plus 150. So we need to fade the Guardians, and that explains the Detroit pick in this case. Now, despite yesterday's humiliating loss, the Tigers still own one of the best home records in the big leagues. In fact, it stands at 17-6 inside Comerica Park. And meanwhile, Cleveland has been hovering around a 500 record away from home, as shown by their 13-14 record. Now we have a huge advantage in terms of the run differential. So right now, the Guardians are 5 games behind the Tigers in the standings, but we have a huge discrepancy in terms of the run differential. Right now, the Tigers are plus 78 compared to minus 10 for the Guardians. Now let's say a few words about the starting pitchers. Detroit starting hurler will be the young guy from Irving, Texas, Jackson Jobe. He's done an okay job via a 4.12 ERA, but he's had some control issues, and that is reflected by his fairly high 1.45 whip stat. He's still very green in his career, and he has showed some solid qualities in his last outing against the Blue Jays in Toronto, where he lasted 6 innings on the mound. Now, outside of a poor outing at Coors Field, which is a bit difficult to pitch, in game in which he gave up 6 earned runs, he has given up 3 earned runs or fewer in all of his other 7 starts. Now, Slade Cecconi gets the nod for Cleveland. He started his career with the D-backs, and now he is in his first season in Cleveland. his career ERA stands at 6.03, which is very bad. In his only appearance this year, he got off to a fantastic start because he tossed 4 scoreless frames. But then he got into big trouble, so he ended his night with decent numbers. It's interesting to note that the Tigers own a perfect 8-0 record when Jackson Jobe starts this season. And also, the Tigers are 12-5 following a loss. So that shows that they are good at bouncing back following a defeat. Also, I found another interesting stat. Cleveland starting pitchers have allowed 2 earned runs or fewer in 17 of the last 21 games, and yet Cleveland only posted a 12-9 record. And today's starter, Cecconi, seems pretty unlikely to me to give up 2 earned runs or fewer. So I am going to roll with the Tigers as my 4th pick. It was close from being a premium pick. All right, I promised I would share 5 MLB predictions, so here comes the 5th and last one, which also gets a 4-star rating. So as you can see, I have 3 plays that I like quite a bit today. So here it goes. I expect at least 1 run to be scored in the first inning of the Yankees versus Rockies match. As you can see, the typical odds are minus 150 or 1.67 in decimal. But as you can see from the screenshot that I'm showing you, I found bookies with a line that's better than this. You can see here a screenshot taken from the Caesars Sportsbook, who's offering minus 140 odds, which is the same as 1.714 in decimal, by the way. All right, so why do I like this play? Well, yesterday we observed a surprisingly low-scoring affair at Coors Field, a game in which the Phillies prevailed 2-0. But I expect a lot more fireworks today against the Yankees, including in the initial frame, of course. Now, Clark Schmidt gets the nod for the Yankees, and he's not doing nearly as great as last season. In 2024, he posted a great 2.85 ERA, but so far in the 2025 campaign, his ERA sits at 4.41, and he also has an ordinary 1.29 whip stat. So to me, he is quite vulnerable, especially on the road. So if you look at his stats since 2023, his whip stat on the road is 1.39. So again, if you keep in mind the fact that an average pitcher has a whip stat of 1.30, that means that Schmidt has been a worse than average pitcher when being away from home. His counterpart will be Tanner Gordon, who has pitched less than 41 innings in the big leagues. So good luck, my friend, facing a tough Yankees lineup. And of course, since we're betting the first inning, he's going to face the top of the lineup. So I think he is in for a rough ride. He will be a good prey for the New York Yankees. So there you go. That's my 5th pick, a run to be scored in the initial frame of the New York-Colorado match. All right, so that's it for me today. I hope you appreciated the content. If you did, could you take just a few seconds of your time to let YouTube know that you like my channel and my videos? So you can click the thumbs up button. That takes just 2 seconds of your time. Or even better, you can leave a comment below. I really like to know what is your best bet in Major League Baseball. Or you can share many picks also if you wish. Of course, it's always nice to read you. And if you have not done it already, please subscribe to the channel. All right, so I hope you enjoyed the video. So I wish you a great weekend, and I'll see you again on Monday. I'm Professor MJ from Quebec City in Canada. Best of luck with your bets. I hope you crush it this weekend. Cheers, guys.